Peace, what up? This is Doc Blake with Ethereal TV, bringing you the 132nd episode of The Last Piece to the Puzzle. The motto for me is silver, gold, and cryptos equals freedom, financial freedom, because they are decentralized assets, and they're going to play an important part in the immediate, the short term, and the long term futures. And let's take a look at the cover art as we see some parachutes, some hot air balloons, symbolizing a airdrop by Arbitrum. We also have Bitcoin, and we also have something called GMX, and we're going to get into all those things, some price predictions, as well as talking about a new token that's going to be hitting the scene roughly the 23rd of next week. So it's looking good. It's looking up for crypto. Bitcoin has been pumping. Looks like we're making a swift comeback. All this being said, there is a banking collapse, one after another, right? If you've been paying attention, and a report just came out from SVB about 186 other banks that have potential to collapse as well, and these banks are in the United States. So we're going to maybe dive in a little bit to that. But definitely we're going to talk about GMX, Arbitrum, Bitcoin, and price predictions today. And of course, first, let's do some ethereal house clearing. In the links below, you will find everything you need to get t-shirts, real ink printed t-shirts done and made. Let me know. Like I said, I was at a Bitcoin meetup not too long ago, and dealing with some gentlemen there that probably most likely are going to getting some t-shirts made here shortly. So if you want your own design, let us know. If you want some t-shirts made, just let us know. You can contact us with the information below at ethereal.com or at the emails that are listed below. So just let me know. And first, we're going to get right into the price action. This is on CoinGecko. It's always a little lagging for some reason, in my opinion. But currently, it's stating that Bitcoin is at $27,376. Ethereum is at $1,789. Binance Coin is at $337. USD Coin is back at $1. XRP is at 38 cents. Polygon is at $1.20. We're not going to talk about Solana. That's not a real crypto. Sorry for all y'all people who like Solana. It's not a real crypto, man. Chainlink is at $7.06. Decentraland is at 64 cents. I've talked about that a bunch on this channel. I use that pretty often. Theta is at $1.06. Optimism, which is basically direct competition with Arbitrum, is at $2.70. And GMX token right here, sitting at 73, is at $80.97. GMX is a decentralized exchange built on top of Ethereum, built on Arbitrum and Avalanche, which is a third layer, basically, or a roll-up, they call it, built on Ethereum, right? So you can take your ETH, transfer it to Arbitrum, use those decentralized platforms on there. And they also have a really neat trading club called the Blueberry Club. I find that really interesting. If you're interested in any of those things, we're going to get into it. But first, today we're going to, of course, do some charting. And let's look up precious metals, man. I haven't even looked up precious metals in a little while, but I've heard they've been doing well. So give me 1 second and I'll pull up those prices. Let me see. All right. Gold is at, gold's at $2,000. Wow, it went on a tear. And silver's at $22.87. So silver's still lagging behind, as usual. The most manipulated thing on the planet, which will change one day. So you're going to want to have a position in that as well. All hearsay, right? You know what I mean? But because it's all manipulated. So let's go into the Bitcoin chart. Don't know why I have it on the 5-minute. All right, zoom out a little bit as you see, we are in this megaphone channel, basically megaphone type of pattern, where we have been basically, touching the bottom, touching the top, touching the bottom, touching the top, touching the bottom. We broke down, and within a couple days, we came all the way back up, broke through all the resistances, and now we're basically um, confirming the breakout that did happen. As you see, we broke out, came all the way up to $27,700, and right now we're sitting a little below at $27,182. But with these megaphone patterns, I've seen other people's drawings. A lot of it's hard to, you know what I mean. I use like the technical way to do it, which is like I like to get the very tops, those wicks in there. So if you count the wicks like I do technically, because we are doing technical analysis. So if you're doing technical analysis, you want to be technical, right? So basically, I use the very tops, and if you're using the very tops, you see where we've broken down back into that megaphone pattern. So this all rides basically on tomorrow. We have the weekly close. So be patient. I'm being patient right now. I was longing the shit out of this, and did very well, but currently closed my positions. I'm waiting to see what's going to happen here, and to let you know, I do my trading on a decentralized platform called GMX. So all of my tokens are in my own control, right? I don't have a third party controlling my tokens. I control them. I, basically have my private keys for them, right? So in my opinion, it's less risky, but this is a roll up. This is a decentralized exchange, so there's always risk in that. But there's also risk in Ethereum. There's risk in Bitcoin. The most risk is the dollar bill and bank accounts, as we've seen with SVB, in my opinion. So you can never count risk out of anything, just to let you know. So next I have the Arbitrum Twitter pulled up, and let me see. All right, so if you go to Arbitrum Foundation, I clicked it right off of their Twitter. This is the legit page. This is a legit link. And there's ways to find that. I don't want to give that information because you need to learn on your own how to find the correct links for things that you want to do. I could tell you, but then, it makes me responsible in a way of like providing you with the right link. So the website where you're going to be able to claim your tokens is arbitrum.foundation, and I just clicked that. It takes you here. As you can see, connect your wallet. I'm not going to do any of that, but look over this. It says starting today, anyone can easily launch a new Arbitrum chain as a layer 3 in the Arbitrum ecosystem. Layer 3, right? So you go to ecosystems. This takes you to Arbitrum 1. Let me see, and you have things that start looking familiar. 1inch. There's also Uniswap on here. I'll show you. So there's a search bar up here. You type in Uniswap, and it comes right there. So Arbitrum has these connections with all of these these DeFi platforms, I should say, right? Including Coinbase. I saw the announcement that I don't know if the token's going to be on Coinbase. That will be very interesting. So still a lot of research I got to do on everything. This is a huge week for people who have been involved in this sector of DeFi. So pay attention to everything that's going on this week for Arbitrum. And then I'll show you the GMX, and then you see GMX and you see GMX Blueberry Club. So this is where you use Web3. You connect your wallet, MetaMask or Trust Wallet, or not Trust Wallet. What's the other one? I don't know, but it's called Wallet something. But you connect it, and just like any other Web3 wallet, basically you have your tokens. You do put them in a smart contract to talk with the uh, mainnet of Arbitrum. And basically, when you're in a trade, yes, they have your tokens. But when you close out a trade, take your profits or your losses, then that's when you get your tokens right back in your wallet. That's basically how trading on a DeFi platform works. So check these out. And I'm going to also pull up some tokenomics right here. It says ARB airdrop eligibility. Check the eligibility, see if you're eligible. There is no pre-sale. Basically, all these tokens will be already owned on the day that they come out. Initial supply cap is 10 billion, so there's 10 billion total, but a lot of those are locked up. And you can look over this yourself. You always want to look over this yourself. So this is basically where I'm getting my price prediction. Is you see 1.13, 113 million DAOs building apps on Arbitrum, and that's at the bottom. 11.62%, 1.162 billion users of the Arbitrum platform, and this is the distribution. So basically, you're seeing 42%, 43% basically in the DAO, 27% off-chain lab teams and future team advisors, 17.5% in off-chain lab investors, and the users get the 11.62%, and that's where you would fall in most likely. You know what I mean? Unless you're one of these big guys like GMX and maybe like Uniswap, who are actually going to get tokens. But let's go down to the most important part to me: vesting and lockup details. While the users and DAOs airdrops will be available in 1 week, all investors and team tokens are subject to 4-year lockups, with their first unlocking happening in 1 year and then monthly unlocks for the remaining years. So, it says all investors and team tokens. So what does that leave you? Basically with tokens that are going to be able to hit the market on the 23rd, right, in 5 days. It should leave you with about, and from my calculations, around, you'll have the users and the DAOs, right? The users and the DAOs. So you have 1.162 billion plus the 113 billion. So that's roughly around 1.3 billion tokens that are going to be hitting the market, which is not a lot in my opinion. So I think as soon as people get their tokens, who knows what they're going to be worth. But I will give you some of my price predictions. Maybe not at first. I don't think it's necessarily going to go to the moon, but if you're patient a little bit, I think it's going to be huge. So you have 1.3 billion, and how I'm getting this number, let's look at its competitor, Optimism. Optimism is at $2.71. Arbitrum approximately has at least twice the amount of liquidity operating through its ecosystem than Arbitrum, but Arbitrum only has circulating supply of 300 and let's say 15 million per se, as you see circulating supply, right? So with the 315 million circulating supply of Arbitrum, of Optimism, you have a market cap valuation of 850,268,501 market cap. So, under a billion, and if there's twice that for Arbitrum, you basically have a 1.7 billion dollar market cap. So my thing is will that be calculated by all the tokens or just the tokens in circulating supply? All that has an effect. So I'm looking at initially maybe around, I'll say 88 cents. So if you do 88 cents times 1.3 billion, I think I don't know, we'd have to do that math. Well, you can do that math, but let's just say Arbitrum goes up to a $3 billion market cap early on, or 4 billion or 5 billion. That could easily balloon into, and this is my prediction is, let's go back. I think Arbitrum will rapidly move up to the top 10 coins. Yes, the top 10. So let's look at Doge. Doge has a $10 billion market cap, right? Yeah, $10.3 billion. So if you're looking at the market cap with Doge, and let's just say Arbitrum surpasses Doge, which I think is very easy to do, especially with like the initial release, you might see that crazy run up that people won't even be able to imagine, right? So if you get a $10 billion market cap, you know, and let's just say the 10 billion is dispersed among the circulating supply, right? So 1.3 billion, and you have a 10 billion market cap that's, you know, allocated to that 1.3 billion. I think that's where you get, you know, Arbitrum going to the moon, and I would say $5, $6, $7 at the high point early on. And I'm saying this is all within the first month, potentially month to 2 months. I would say you're looking potentially, if all, it depends, because you got to think a lot of these tokens are going to be locked up, most of them. Only 1.3 by my calculations, and this is all rough estimates. Don't like take this to heart, and none of this is financial advice. But I do expect there to be a night, like let's just say it starts out at $1. We'll probably go back down to like 50 cents, let's say, in the first day or two, and then it might start picking up some steam, because that's when you'll start having your big investors coming in, buying it for cheap, buying it for low, having the institutions buying it for cheap, buying it for low. Who knows if this is going to be listed on Coinbase? Who knows if it's going to be listed on Binance? So start thinking in those type of terms, where it's like, all right, I got my tokens, right? Let's see how this actually plays out, because you know, most people who get their tokens are gonna be like, man, I'm taking profits, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. But you know, if you're not thinking long term, you know what I mean? If you're not looking to be a delegator or any of that, then you know, it is what it is. Do what you got to do. You know what I mean? Take the money and run, right? It's free money. So it's still a beautiful thing either way. But I have a eerie feeling about this particular airdrop. I think it's going to be the biggest airdrop since Uniswap. And if you got your 500 tokens from Uniswap, and just think, like, the max handout, I think, was like, if you look at the points, and then you got to do all this research on your own, but if you look at the points of how it was allocated, like, here it is, converting points to tokens. So the max, 12 or more, if you had 12 or more points, you're only getting 10,250 tokens as a user. Now, people obviously have, you know, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Who knows? You can have an unlimited amount of wallets, but realistically, that doesn't change the token amount. So, you know, most people probably are maxing out around, I would say, 20. Like, people who have 2 accounts, they might get 20,000, you know, 500 tokens, right? So, you know, think in those terms where it's like, yo, a lot of these users aren't going to have a lot of tokens. You know what I mean? That's when I start realizing, like, okay, and people are like, that's not a good thing. You know, most of it's staying in the DAO. But I personally think the 42%, 0.3% that are in the DAO are eventually going to get allocated to the user. So they're being really smart about it, where it's like, yo, if you've been using this platform, then, you know, you're going to get rewarded. Because, see, like, the ones in the Arbitrum DAO treasury, I feel like those are technically for the users, because they're not the investors, they're not the team. It's just like, it's the treasury, right? So you're part of the ecosystem. So you're, at some point, you're going to have entitlement to that treasury. So think about it that way as well, because there's going to be other tokens distributed depending on, you know what I mean, whatever their criteria might be. So, you know, really, this is a huge opportunity, in my opinion. I mean, I think potentially life changing for many people. And it's rare that something like this comes along. And with that being said, like, I really wanted to pull up Operation When. So we're gonna sit here, we're gonna watch Operation When, and you're gonna see what Operation When is. So let me open up my YouTube page.
Shopify を利用する人増えてます。Shopify は専門知識がなくても始められるネットショップ。こだわりのネットショップが簡単に作れます。 オンリーワンのネットショップを始めるなら
And basically they're calling it Operation When because I don't know if you keep up with Arbitrum, you know that everybody's like when airdrop. It's like the running theme for most airdrops, but this is so big, so here we go.
All in position? It's time. Commencing Operation When on my count. 3, 2, 1.
It's time to onboard. Let's f***ing go.
Begin.
Go for Arbitrum Airdrop.
Let's build Arbitrum together.
So there you go. It's got me excited. I don't know about you, but do your research. So, just so I'm clear on my price prediction, I think initially I'm going to go with 88 cents, right? 88 cents, I think, is where most people will probably end up being able to sell. Then I think we might go back down to 50 cents, right? And then I think, give it a month or two, I'm predicting that we could see $4 to $5 to $6 Arbitrum tokens. So you heard it here. Go check out GMX. I'm not doing a tutorial or anything, but unless you want, if somebody comments or down below that they want to see a GMX tutorial, I will go out and on a limb and do that. You know what I mean? But if you are interested in DeFi trading, you need to be educating yourself on that. So it's especially on such a deep down the rabbit hole platform like Arbitrum, because it's built on top of Ethereum. So it's basically a layer 3 where you're using your Web3 wallet, but you're in control of your own tokens, and that's what's important to me. But then like the Ethereum you're getting is not the original Ethereum, right? It's just like wrapped Bitcoin, if you know what that is, or wrapped Ethereum, right? You're getting these new tokens that imitate Ethereum, basically, which is like, what do they imitate? Well, basically the price actions, their ability to interact with smart contracts as well. And then you have all these bridges. Oh yeah, I didn't talk about the bridges that you have where you're basically able to, let's go back to the portal. The bridges, you have like a cross. I've used that a bunch of times. My main is Hop. I use Hop the most. So you're able to bridge tokens from Ethereum to Arbitrum. You're also able to use these same platforms to bridge like from Ethereum to Optimism and things like that. So just really, really, really innovative. Arbitrum's like basically their statement is bankless, which I think is super important. And let's see, talking about the banks, let's see if I can find the report. 186 banks to collapse, maybe. Google censors everything, but here we go, right here in Google News. A new report has found that 186 banks in the U.S. are at risk of failure due to rising interest rates and a high proportion of uninsured deposits. So there's nothing backing this stuff in banks. So none of this is financial advice, but make sure you have some cash. Make sure you have some crypto in your possession. You know, if you're able to have a few pieces of silver, hell, if you can get some gold, that's even, you know, that's just as good. Just have, you know, a diversified portfolio. If you're out here working your ass off and all that, man, I don't know if you keep up with what happened with SVB, but it's a very serious situation. We don't think about the other individuals who are unable to get their paychecks because of SVB. You know, they're not able to feed their families this week. This just happened in America, but the Federal Reserve stepped in and bailed them out. But we don't ever hear, like, if they actually were able to complete their payroll. Did people actually end up finally getting their paychecks? You know, the news doesn't cover things like that. So maybe that'll be my next episode, really diving into the SVB banking collapse to see if, you know, all the money has been paid. Because that's the thing. Like, you know, it's like dealing with insurance or something. Like, yeah, you know, something happened to your house or your car. There's always that waiting period. And in that waiting period, like, you still have to live. Your children still have to eat. Your bills still have to be paid. So they're dealing with the same thing where these were like FDIC insured and all that. And then the Federal Reserve steps in with the BTFP bank or BFTP bank funding program, whatever it's called, where they're stepping in with trillions and trillions of dollars. People, look, all this can only mean one thing, is inflation. Inflation has the potential to go hyper mode. You know what I mean? Like I'm talking about Super Saiyan Kaioken times 10 inflation. How can it not? How can it not? The inflation that we're seeing now is the effects from them printing so much money from COVID. You know, to make a warp speed vaccine that doesn't work. You know what? Just mark that, because I might not be able to post my video from that one. But realistically, you know what I mean? What I'm saying is, you know, they're printing money at such a fast rate out of thin air. You know, they're going to collapse their own currency. And a lot of people like myself think they're going to try to usher in a CBDC, which is a central bank digital currency. I've talked about this. Man, I made a video about this in 2020 talking about, go back on my channel, about a CBDC. So it hasn't came yet. I don't think they have enough time between the collapse and to convince people, right? So you have the collapse happening now, but you still have to convince people to take on this new currency, which is a CBDC. So it's going to be very, very hard. The smart money are it's not me. I wish it was me that was pumping Bitcoin. No, it's not. It's not me, that can pump these coins. It's these big institutions. It's not a millionaire. These are billionaires that are able to make Bitcoin go from 15,000 to 27,000 in a matter of 1 or 2 months. So think about things kind of like that. You know what I mean? Like, who really is pumping this? Who's really doing what? The big guys are starting to see the writing on the wall that the dollar is unsustainable, printing it trillions of dollars at a time. Like, apparently money does grow on trees. No, actually, money grows way faster than leaves, right? How long will it take? How many trees and how long will it take those trees to grow 2 trillion leaves? Well, we just created $2 trillion overnight. But this isn't cash. Actually, to print 2 trillion in cash would take a pretty, it might take a couple months. I don't know how fast those printers print. And that's that's the important part. Nobody on this planet from day one, the day that they learn how to count to the day you die, no one could ever count to 1 trillion. Ever. And if you can, prove me wrong. Prove me wrong and count to 1 trillion. No one can do it. And I'm going to stick with that until somebody proves me wrong. No one can count to 1 trillion. Matter of fact, we need to look up the Guinness Book of World Records. It would take so long. The person who's keeping the records, you know what I mean? You'd have to be watching the person for years. So it's impossible. That person needs to eat. They need to sleep. You know what I mean? We're talking about insurmountable money. Money does not grow on trees. It grows much faster than leaves grow on mother trees, y'all. So we're in a terrible, terrible situation for the dollar, for the bank. None of this is financial advice, but there's nothing wrong with telling people make sure you have cash, make sure you have crypto, try to get some precious metals, get some seeds, get some food, make sure you have a water source. These are things you want to think about during these times, right? Nothing wrong with being prepared. So I hope you got something from today's video. Definitely check out Arbitrum. If you've used it at all, go check your eligibility. Definitely check out GMX if you're into crypto trading. I actually have a link below where we will both receive rewards if you use my link for GMX, the DeFi platform, the DeFi trading platform built on top of Arbitrum, which is a layer 3 solution for Ethereum, because Ethereum's fees are just way too high. So Arbitrum has much cheaper fees. So if you're into all that, smash the like button, leave a comment below. If you want me to follow up with the GMX, let me know. This is your boy Doc Blake with Ethereum TV. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.